Okay. Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We are back for your Dota 2 news. It's me, Steven, joined by, as per usual, MTarget, caster streamer extraordinaire. So we're here.
I might actually start doing that again. So, yeah, you can call me that.
Okay, good. And you can follow us on Twitter in the description. Before I talk about anything else, like, comment, subscribe, blah, blah, blah. So we're here to talk about StarLadder. Happened last week into the weekend. First ever minor tournament from the DPC, the Dota Pro circuit.
Yes.
Yeah.
Don't call it. We got if we're gonna refer to it as the Dota Pro circuit, just call it the Dota Pro circuit. DPC just sounds super campy.
Yeah, it does. And I'm calling it that. So we got the first tournament being again StarLadder I-League Invitational Season 3. It's done. It's over with. It was a pretty darn fun event, honestly. And also the drama surrounding it, which wasn't as fun, where you had StarLadder tackling a bunch of different streamers that were casting their event for profit. And then from there, we're probably going to talk about some of the other stuff going on in the realm of Dota, including the upcoming tournaments, being PGL Bucharest, ESL One Hamburg, and Dota Pit. Maybe if we have time / anything interesting to talk about, maybe Perfect World Masters. I don't know. We also have the... Yeah, that's about it. We don't also have anything else. So, let's get to it.
I'm sure we could find more, but...
Yeah, but who cares? So, the actual pure results of StarLadder. First place, Team Liquid. Not too surprising, I don't think.
So, sort of not too surprising. They were scared a couple times. There were a couple moments where it was like, uh-oh. But they are back-to-back champions for this event, as well as they are the first... now, there are some caveats to this, but they are the first team to win an international and another Valve-sponsored event. Because there have been no two-time TI winners, and there have been no teams that have won a major that have also won TI.
Okay, I'll give that to you, I guess.
It's super bullshit, but it's also like, I heard that stat and I was like, no. Like, there has to be some like nuance that... No, actually, yeah, that's right. Like...
I mean,
they are.
I mean, does this count as Valve sponsored or Valve?
Yeah, it's a minor. It's a part of the Valve circuit. So
I know, but
Valve put in money. So at the very least, I would say that it shows some. If you throw away that statistic, because this is of course proof that statistics are always bullshit when you take them out of context. Looking at you, League of Legends awards permanent. But you have Liquid, who didn't change anything right after TI, and they won pretty convincingly the first event they played in after that.
Yeah. They, like you said, they had a couple shaky moments, but the ultimate record for them for this tournament is, I think, 9-1. And it's hard to argue with that.
They dropped a total of...
one game.
One map. And in that, or one game, one whatever you want to call it, out of the set.
Well, game, set, match.
Yeah. I guess we probably should do it tennis notation. But the thing that I find most interesting there is that even in that one game, we were watching it and the commentators admitted this, that Team Liquid was the only team in the world where even though they're down 30K, you still find yourself thinking Team Liquid could come back.
Yeah, and they did, because they ended up dropping game 1 to Mineski. Took back game 2, and then game 3 ended up overcoming a pretty big deficit to Mineski, and that just kind of broke their back, broke their spirit.
Yeah, well, and the thing is with game 1 is that Liquid really lost it in the drafting stage. Something to note: Liquid does not draft with a coach. Other teams
is important to note. This is also, in addition to being the first DPC tournament, it also was the first major event to allow coaches to actually be with their team during the drafting phase. You had Havost with NaVi. You had he's the most prominent one.
The Chinese teams had coaches, and their complexity didn't have anybody. Team Secret I think, had a coach there.
Yeah, Sunbi.
Yeah. And then I do know that at the same time, the EMEA ROG Masters qualifying whatever LAN occurred. And they also had they had VG. Sorry, not VG. Vegas Squadron. I want to say Virtus Pro was there. Anyways, bunch of tier 2-ish CIS/Eastern European teams were there. And a bunch of them took advantage of coaching as well.
Yeah, which they should. It's a really
coaching. So for those who aren't aware, coaches are now allowed to be in the booth during the drafting stage, but the coach has to be out of the booth once the map starts. So as soon as the last picks lock in, that coach is getting thrown out of the booth fast. So,
which I like that a lot.
Oh, same. I like it too.
This is still a very small sample size, but I didn't feel like any teams ended up really just getting blatantly, unquestionably outdrafted. I felt like the drafts were generally tighter and more competitive. I don't think that you had quite as many games where it's just picked Huskar, that's Jets game now. Which, Huskar is still a force at this time. But, again, it didn't feel like there was any kind of consistency to teams just messing up on the draft phase.
Yeah, honestly, if anything, the fact that OG have been playing with Mad working in the drafts and Vegas, and I think that as good of a player as he is and as good as a coach he may be, I think that they and he both need to get used to him being in the booth during drafting phase.
Yeah.
And also Vegas Squadron, just with Kipspol in there, you would think that they'd be doing great because she is such a good drafter. But I think that, they had some issues there too. Some of it may have been drafting, some of it may have been execution, but those were two areas where you would have expected to see them do better. Mm-hmm. OG has not been doing great in qualifiers lately, and I don't know, how much of that is what. And then also Vegas Squadron at their first LAN with Kipspol. Again, she's a great analyst, and a lot of people think she's a good drafter. So what happened?
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see how that shakes out. Again, this is the first time it's ever happened, so it'll be important to watch going forward. And also, hopefully Valve doesn't decide to suddenly pull the trigger out on it, pull the plug on it like they did with Counter-Strike, which had its own coaching thing last year, where Valve let the coaches do stuff, and then we're like, no, coaches can't do stuff anymore. So we'll see how that goes. As we alluded to, Mineski was in second place, ended up dropping the finals 3-1 to Liquid. Third, fourth, Complexity Gaming and Team Secret. They lost to Complexity lost to Mineski, and Secret lost to Liquid. So those are the top 4 teams, and they are all the teams that receive qualifying points. The other 4 being SG Esports, NaVi, VG Gaming, and NewB, they don't get any points. They get a considerably smaller check for their presence, but they don't get any points towards qualifying for the international.
So that's the important thing, is points matter matter a lot now.
Generally speaking, in terms of the teams that didn't qualify, Team Secret looked pretty darn good. They did qualify, but they got bummed out before the finals. Team Secret looked good though. NaVi also looked good. They ended up getting bumped in the group stages, but they were very competitive. They actually took a series off of Secret. They beat them in the first series of their groups, and then ended up getting bumped by Secret later on in the final round of the group stages. SG Esports, they took a game off of VG Gaming, but
VG Gaming didn't look great, but SG Esports also did look pretty good in that series. If you look at that group, the only teams, actually, if you look at the bracket, the only teams that SG Esports lost to are first and second place.
Yeah.
So, and yeah, some of that has to do with the way that it's set up, but Mineski looked very good, and Team Liquid's Team Liquid. Also to note, Complexity, really, I watched some of their series with, couldn't watch any of the group stages, but I did watch the playoffs, some of them at least, and I did catch Complexity versus Mineski, which was great. And I want to say I watched some of the Complexity Team Secret series. No, it was the Complexity NaVi series, because that was the one where if they tied things, or if Complexity lost to NaVi, everything would get all weird, because then there would be 3-2-1 teams and everybody would have lost to somebody different, and you would have had to have done tiebreakers. And that was a really good, again, Complexity looked damn good as I throw my pen across the room.
Complexity did look good, though. They ended up getting bumped by Mineski in the first round of the playoffs, but that wasn't, 2-1, so they were competitive. And their performance in qualifiers so far has been really good. So a case can be made that next to EG, they are going to be the number 2 NA team going forward. We'll see ultimately, because it's a very competitive field right now.
Yep.
So they certainly didn't look out of place in that top 4. It could look, I expect we'll see them in some majors as well going forward. Teams that did not look good: Vici Gaming, 0-2, went 0-4 total. Not good. And NewB, runners up at TI, and immediately just shit the bed here. Went 0-4.
Roster changes, did they? No, they stayed the same.
No, they stayed the same.
I think that, I don't know.
They got plenty of opportunities coming up ahead. They got a couple direct invites to these tournaments, so they had plenty of time to unbury themselves. But it was a shaky performance that is maybe worth worrying about it. You know what I mean? You might, if you're a newbie fan, you might want to worry. not you don't want to hit the panic button yet, but you might want to worry. So that's the actual tournament. And now, once again, broadcasting drama. And I hate to use the term drama, because people throw that around. When
some of this actually was legitimately drama.
Some of it was legitimately drama. Some of it was, but it's also still important for a lot of folks. Yeah. So StarLadder sent out a number of, I don't know if it's cease and desists. If it's
they were effectively they weren't officially C&Ds, but they were close to it.
Yeah, they had a bunch of streams of Admiral Bulldog was the most notable one. Streamer
during the LAN event.
For Alliance.
They had a lot of other people who were doing it during the open qualifier, or during the qualifiers, like online.
Yeah.
And there were actually some that were doing it for a lot of other events. And the issue, really quickly, and then I'll let you get back to it, is a lot of people were saying, blacklisted or not, I'm going to do coverage my way. Which right there tells you a huge problem with the fact that, like, the fact that the people that are doing this clearly don't care and are looking for a way to get around the fact that these organizations didn't hire them to do the event.
Yeah.
So,
continue. So they ended up having a number of streams. A few of them got banned with, short bans. I think Banana Slam Jamma ended up saying that he got banned for 24 hours, which, isn't long, but certainly inconvenient and probably disappointing for however many people he had on his stream. Bulldog was sent a warning, and he at the time had 18,000 people watching his event, which is a pretty significant number.
I think StarLadder had that happen. There was screw it, I'm just gonna call him out. Grant at one point had 15,000 viewers while he was casting something, while Breaky CPK and Tsunami were casting for whoever it was. I forget what it was. I forget what event qualifiers it were.
Oh, I think it was
5,000 viewers on the official stream. He had 15,000.
Yeah.
And that stream, if I'm a tournament organizer, all that I can tell my sponsors is we had 5,000 viewers during the event. This other asshole had 15,000 of our viewers, and let's pretend that only half of them. Let's pretend that half of those viewers would have stayed with Grant if he was just playing. Let's just pretend that he was playing Dota or casting pubs. That's still 7,000 viewers. So, I mean, there's a lot of people there.
So we basically hit the general idea of it. I wrote up not to say, I'm Okay, so my opinion on this, and it's not really an opinion, is that we want tournaments to be able to exist. And when it comes to Dota 2 right now, we need tournaments to be able to exist from major tournament organizers like the PGLs.
Especially when they're majors and minors involving Valve.
Yeah, the Dota Pro circuit means that that Dota as a game for its competitive scene 100% cannot survive. The competitive Dota 2 scene cannot survive right now without having these kinds of tournament organizers, the StarLadders, the PGLs, the ESLs, et cetera, et cetera. You can't have that and then expect them to be okay. You can't have these tournaments expect to be okay with having a 5-figure number of people just kind of shaved off their broadcasts because Admiral Bulldog wants to do this. And probably the stupidest thing, it stunned me how unanimously against this move people were, because
here's why they were against it. Because if you look at everybody who said this, and screw it, I'm just gonna do this. Beyond the Summit and Moonduck are two egregious committers of this crime. You look at TI qualifiers are the biggest example. Every Valve or every Valve major, Valve gives contractors specific matches to cast.
Yeah.
And whoever that person is gets to do whatever they want with it, but that's the person who's technically in charge of casting it, whether it be in English, Chinese, or Russian. Now, technically, the Chinese one is all handled via Perfect World, but that's how it works. So those are the 3 languages that have official commentators from Valve during qualifiers, whether it be open or regular, but especially during regular. And what happens is, and you'll see this if you go back and rewatch Moonduck or Beyond the Summit, is that both of those two would try and snatch up as many of those commentators as possible, so then they could use it as part of their big stream, which is fine. I have no problem with that. But what they would also do is they would then also just cast right off of Dota TV when they didn't have the client, which means that these smaller streamers that Valve is giving money to and saying, here's your chance, get screwed by BTS and Moonduck. Now, luckily, BTS and Moonduck can't do that under what is specified here, but at the same time, that's how these two organizations have made a whole lot of money in the last year. And yeah, this is probably going to get me crucified and it's going to burn a couple bridges. I'm sorry, but I mean, it's all right there.
Okay, so the way you 100% have to look at it like this. Tournament organizers are media companies.
Yep.
They are 100% media companies. Think about literally any other media company in the world. Think about, TBS making The Walking Dead. Why should, they be okay with other people rebroadcasting their show?
Yep.
Let's say that somebody made a campy little play-by-play of it and put it on, I don't know, AMC at the same time, same show.
Yep.
But it's in this case, StarLadder was paying money to make content to then sell to sponsors.
Yep. To sell ad revenue.
Yeah.
They've got an agreement with Twitch. Every single person that tunes into that stream, they make a nickel on. Okay, not that much, but you get the point.
Yeah, a figurative nickel.
Yeah.
So they need as many viewers as possible. And it's also worth remembering that in the case of Admiral Bulldog, he is streamed by Alliance. Alliance is an esports organization, and esports organizations, whether people like to look at them in this way or not, are also media companies.
To be fair, so are NFL teams or baseball teams or whatever.
Absolutely.
Everybody's a media company if you're involved in sports or esports in some way.
If you produce content and then you make money off of people watching it, you're a media company.
Yep.
So when Alliance pays Admiral Bulldog to stream, that's them functioning as a media company. And when you have a finite number of people watching Dota 2 at a specific time, and you have 2 people trying to get viewers at the same time, they are competing media companies. And on top of that, StarLadder, I believe, was sponsored by Red Bull. Alliance is sponsored by Monster Energy Drink. So you had StarLadder competing with another media company with competitive sponsors. And the competing media company is taking viewers to plug their sponsors off the content that they made. It's like it undermines StarLadder's ability to exist, and I can't even come up with like a comparison in the mainstream media company kind of environment because it sounds so fucking ludicrous.
The only example that I can think of is the similar nature of, because this used to happen, and then it was put an end to very quickly, and this is a long time ago, was when the NFL started putting on broadcasts, and you had and this is early national broadcasts.
Yeah.
And local city, state, televisions or radio organizers would broadcast the event, whether they rebroadcast it without permission or they recast over it. They did both of those. And the NFL said, I don't fucking think so.
And I mean,
with that harsh of language, only it was, instead of language, it was several $100,000 worth of give me my money. So yeah, it sucks. Boo-hoo, you know, poor Admiral Bulldog, he got yelled at, but you know, that's how it works. You know, I cast a Chinese Smite event a couple years ago. I pulled up the stream, I popped it up on my computer, and I streamed it, knowing full well that if that company had any interest in coming over and telling Twitch to delete my channel, they could, and they would, and Twitch would have nothing to do but delete my channel. Because Twitch doesn't want to get into a fighting contest with some other giant mega conglomerate.
No.
Especially when they have the legal standing to do so. So,
I mean, okay, so part of this I do blame. Oh, and you know, Valve.
And then there's the Valve thing. We'll hit the Valve thing, and then we'll come back to it.
Okay, so Valve ultimately decided to speak out on this, and it's also worth noting that they decided to have this, you know, judgment after like 2.5 hours. They're functionally shutting down.
People have been complaining about this for a couple of weeks in other ways, so they may have been thinking about it.
I would be surprised if they were.
Let's just give them a little bit of the benefit of the doubt.
Okay, so they a couple hours after this happens, Valve puts out a statement basically saying something. It was a whole lot of nothing, really. And ultimately the thing was, if you want to rebroadcast someone else's Dota 2 event, and once again, it's someone else's Dota 2 event, they own it. They're making content that they own. You can do so, but you can't make any money off of it. You cannot have overlays of your own sponsors, and you cannot you
can't run ads at that time.
Yeah, you can't run ads. And that's about it. That's about it. And that is basically vague to the point of being unenforceable. Because,
but at the same time, there were some things in there that also made it vague to the point of don't cross our line, period.
I don't.
Let me pull it up. I gotta. What is this Twitter?
Yeah, ultimately you can just read the last paragraph because it's the only one that matters. Yeah,
if you want to hit that up while I find this response really quickly here.
Yeah, I'll pull it up right now.
Thanks. I guess I just have to find the guy that tweeted it. It was Drop Bear. I just forget what his Twitter handle is.
Excuse me. Okay. Oops. Wrong thing. Bam. Official blog post. Scrolling down. Okay. To that end, and this is the actual blog post. I'm reading it as a quote right now. To that end, in addition to the official, fully produced streams from the tournament's organizer itself, we believe that anyone should be able to broadcast a match from Dota TV for their audience. However, we don't think they should do so in a commercial manner or in a way that directly competes with the tournament organizer's stream. This means no advertising/branding overlays and no sponsorships. It also means not using any of the official broadcast's content, such as caster audio, camera work, overlays, interstitial content, and so on. Finally, this is not permission for studios to broadcast each other's events. And in general, everyone should play nice together, and we think the boundaries should be pretty clear. and they think the boundaries should be pretty clear, while basically saying there are pretty much no boundaries.
Well, here's a
So in terms,
thing that. Sorry, no, go ahead.
so I think it's legitimately stupid, for lack of a better word, to say that you cannot do so in a commercial way. The entire idea of streaming is commercial. In the case of Admiral Bulldog, he is working for, again, a media company in Alliance, which is a commercial entity. When you are running a stream, you are hoping to get subscribers who pay money, which is a commercial endeavor. You can't, short of just some nerd streaming for like 10 people, all of it's commercial. Flat out.
No, and that's the thing. And now if you look at I'll go ahead and throw up a thing here, because there's a very important point on this little screenshot. Unfortunately, it's not very big, but we'll go ahead and screen share it anyways. It's from Corrupt Drop Bear. And again, I don't know if that's big enough to see really, but it's Twitter, so I can't make it any bigger.
I just locked the screen on you, so
okay. So what are you casting? Open qualifiers or like Face It, FPL, whatever. Sure, cast it from Dota TV with whatever you want on it. If it's a major or a minor, a main qualifier or a LAN, then you have to ask, is the language already being cast? If it's not already being cast, for example, Beyond the Summit Portuguese, cast it from Dota TV, use your own camera work, be a little bit, aware of what you're doing. We recommend you reaching out to people, but whatever. And then if it already is being cast, step number 1, if you think that you ever have a shot in hell of working with any major organizer, don't do it live. Yeah. You are allowed to do replays, do your own camera work and casting. You can use footage of the replay, do your own camera work and casting. And technically, you are not supposed to make any money off of the commentary, because if you do, Valve can enforce any and all of that on you. And also, something else to remember is that's what Valve said about it. That doesn't include what Twitch says about it. And when Twitch has a partnership, like let's say E-League, or here's a good example, Epicenter. If Epicenter rolls up on Twitch and says, if this doesn't get taken down because it's infringing on our view count, we're gonna go somewhere else. We're gonna go to a Russian website and stream all of our Epicenter stuff on a Russian website instead. You know how fast Twitch is gonna be on your channel? Because the number of viewers that Epicenter brings in between Counter-Strike and Dota, and that's not just Twitch people. Those are people that would go elsewhere to watch it because of how big Epicenter is becoming in Russia.
Yeah, it's so basically the biggest single event in Russia at this point, I would say.
For esports, yeah. I mean, hell, it's bigger than a lot of sports in Russia. But yeah, I mean, let's not even think about what'll happen if the Chinese scene gets that way.
Yeah,
like any of those major Chinese events roll up on Twitch, especially the ones that are partnered with Twitch. ESL One Hamburg, there's a great example. If you want to get between ESL's main qualifier numbers and Twitch will delete, not even ban you. They'll straight up delete your Twitch channel faster than you can blink, because because think about it. If Twitch doesn't protect ESL's broadcasting rights,
yeah, especially
ESL
right now,
has an out. The only reason that ESL is still with Twitch is because they partnered with Twitch forever ago, and they can't leave. ESL's been looking for ways to stream on other platforms, including Hulu.
This is also coming at a time when, one, you have Riot, for example, making their own streaming platform for their own content. This is also coming at a time where you can sign on to Twitter, and at least in my case, they'll play the hell out of DreamHack stuff for you. I get constant push notifications to watch DreamHack stuff.
I get push notifications for DreamHack, Counter-Strike, a lot of Counter-Strike on there, as well as like NFL and NHL. But yeah,
baseball for me sometimes.
I think part of that's just what area of the country you're in, or Canada in your case.
Yeah, and there are going to be lots and lots and lots more streaming platforms that are going to be searching for this content. Twitch cannot afford to piss off anybody right now, because
look at Hi-Rez.
I mean,
Hi-Rez's biggest project, the Paladin Pro League, which is made in part with Wisa, biggest names that have ever been involved in a Hi-Rez game, is being broadcast on Facebook. My understanding is that Facebook paid them to do so. Again, I don't work for Hi-Rez. I don't have any official statements. But again, that is their largest thing that they're trying to get going. That's not, hey, here's our version of TI or Worlds. But,
yeah,
that's
a really big thing that's happening right now in all forms of media is the increased financial weight to new streaming platforms. And right now, the UFC, and that's a fairly well-established sports organization, has its TV contract ending next year. And the reason that the UFC sold for $4 billion last year was because companies, in this case WME-IMG, had a lot of hope in terms of generating copious amounts of revenue off of a new TV deal. When the UFC signed their TV deal with Fox in 2010, they ended up making about $100 million a year, which was pretty good at the time. They're expecting that
not awful now.
It's not awful now, but they're expecting it to be double for next year. They were expecting it to quadruple at one point, but now they're still expecting it to double. The front runners that people are talking about right now in terms of who could get the contracts are: 1, Fox renewing their contract; 2, Turner in TBS. They have a pretty large sports offering at this point. In addition to E-League, they also have actual basketball and baseball games.
Half of NBA is broadcast on TNT/TBS right now.
Yep. And third place is Amazon.
Amazon's coming for you. Now, Amazon technically is not a competitor with Twitch.
Technically, yet. Technically, yet.
Amazon owns Twitch. They wouldn't be in their interest to be competitors.
You say that, but
okay, it would be in their interest to create competition, but at the same time,
yeah, they're gonna foster competition. For sure.
They may foster some, but I also do know that Twitch is that Amazon is all about the streamline.
My God, do you remember? Well, actually, you're probably too young for this, but VH1 versus MTV stuff.
I remember that.
Okay,
that wasn't Amazon. Yeah, they were owned by the same company. But...
yeah, they're both owned by Viacom, and same general idea. But
I mean, part of the thing with Viacom is Viacom realized really quickly that they could split their audience into two things. Actually 3 if you look at the fact they own BET and MTV2 and a couple of those other channels.
Own CMT?
Yes. No.
Wait.
Who owns CMT?
Anyway, this is getting off the rails. So Wikipedia.
Oh, they are owned by Viacom. So yeah, but that's the point, is that you divide and so yeah, maybe Amazon does. Amazon tries to put all of their esports on Amazon and all of their just Joe streams on Twitch, in which case by Twitch I'm out. Because let's be honest, 90% of what I watch on Twitch these days is esports, which is down from 99.
Yeah. So, I mean, you can't really... Okay, so long story short. 1, Twitch isn't in a position where it can piss off anybody right now because other companies are coming for them. Other companies are coming for their spot. Other companies are coming from the different content creators that rely on Twitch right now. So that's... yeah, they can't afford to piss them off. YouTube would love to have
YouTube
monopoly
would kill to take Dota a 2. Fraction of what Twitch is doing right now for live stream.
And they're trying. They're already
they
trying.
are. I mean, look at EPL.
Yeah,
and face it. There's 2 major Counter-Strike leagues that are YouTube exclusive now, which I can't believe. It's an awful live stream platform.
Yeah, it is, but we're using it right now, so they can't afford to piss anybody off. And also, as I was saying, Dota 2 really effing needs the ESLs, the PGLs, the StarLadders to keep the Dota 2 competitive scene running right now. And they can't afford to have, say, 10% of their actual audience shaved off the top because Grant and Admiral Bulldog want to stream their events. And that, that's not to
Grant's been banned by Twitch before for broadcasting other people's events. So that's the thing that people really forget, is that this has been enforced by Twitch before. He was casting an event that was in Chinese only and got his ass banned. So of course you've got to be careful with this. That's the thing that I find so funny is that guys like Grant are, Grant saying specifically, I don't care if I'm blacklisted, I'm doing this anyways. Admiral Bulldog's like, I'm Bulldog, I can do whatever the hell I want. I get it, you're Bulldog, you think you can do that. But in reality, it's not that simple, especially with all of these contracts and the nuances and everything else. And at the end of the day, if you really dig through the Twitch agreements, both the agreement that you sign when you create an account, technically, the agreement you sign when you get affiliate, and the agreement that you sign when you get partner, all three of those include very specific things that you can do to get your ass banned. And the higher up you go, regular to affiliate to partner, you have more and more responsibility.
Yep.
So, but number one, back here on, create a Twitch account. Rule number 0 is you are here because Twitch is letting you be here. This is private property. We can throw you out of our living room whenever the hell we want.
Yep.
So just keep that in mind, people, that Twitch, if they wanted to, Amazon could, if they wanted to, throw everyone out, every single person, and just throw them out.
They could. And I mean, I don't want to necessarily
I'm not saying that they should or that they would, but I'm saying they technically are within their rights to.
And I don't want to make it sound like I'm like, stumping for a corporation or anything, because I'm not. Yeah. But like I said, Dota 2 needs PGLs and ESLs and StarLadders and Dota Pits and those guys, and they need money. A lot of these events are running at a loss as is. A lot of these events, even if they aren't running at a loss, aren't especially profitable. I mean, so you look at StarLadder, they paid $150,000 for the prize pool. Val paid the other half. How much do you figure they got off of Red Bull and off of Twitch and off of whatever other sponsors they had?
I could see them making back most of that 150. Be tight, but
They could. And then you add in the fact that it was actually a live event. They actually, rented out a place and had a crowd and such.
Yeah, but the place in the crowd maybe pays for itself at best, if not losing there. So
yeah, almost certainly losing. I mean, we talked about that last episode. Yeah, running a live esports event is fucking stupid unless you own the studio. Which is the case for E-League, probably not the case for which is the case for E-League, going to be the case for PGL because they're doing it in the PGL studio for the PGL Open Bucharest. I believe they're doing it in the PGL studio. Not going to be the case for most places though. So if it's got a live crowd, it's probably going to be operating at a loss.
Yeah.
So they need the viewers, and there are other ways I could see this not being as much of an issue. One, as you discussed, doing it in languages that aren't available. People were complaining about how there was like a French broadcast that got shut down on the spot, which I'm sure that sucked for the 50 people, but
like I said, I knew that when I streamed, again, it was a Chinese event. I knew that that's just how it works. If you do not go through the proper avenues and say, hey, can I do this? And by the way, if you're looking at an event that doesn't have an English or a your language here broadcast, it is 90% of the time that simple. Because if you say, hey, can I get official permission to be the official rebroadcaster of this event? I'll include all of your sponsors, all of your everything. Here you go, especially if you're unaffiliated like I was. Bam, you're golden.
Yeah. And like I said, not stumping for a corporation, but they need this money. Dota 2 needs them, and Dota 2 needs them to make that money.
Because Dota 2 will drop you on your ass and keep moving forward.
Yeah. And try and keep moving forward. Like,
well, I'm not. I didn't say forward was a specific forward. That's forward.
Yeah. It can't afford to really lose too many of these places, especially when you look at the list of actual minors and majors. Yep. Probably like 60% of them are run by like 2 or 3 different organizers, like in Perfect World.
Well, I had a feeling you were going to go there. I'm pulling it up right now.
Yeah, we're on the same wavelength. I looked it up before because there's like some Malaysian outfit that's doing 4 minors.
Yeah, so we've got
in like Kuala
Lumpur, PGL, ESL, AMD, Dota Pit, which is technically AMD, Perfect World, Dream League, Mars, BTS, Moonduck, GESC,
Yeah, GES.
Galaxy Battles. So we're at 11 before we hit the first repeat, and that's ESL One. And then you go ESL One, StarLadder, PGL, ESL, GESC, BTS, and NGE, which I find interesting, but it's again another BTS one. GESC, some not to to be determined one. Perfect World again, StarLadder again, Perfect World again, Epicenter, GESC again, Mars Media again, ESL again, and PGL again. So yeah, if ESL at Hamburg, if Twitch gives them a reason to leave and they take all their viewership elsewhere.
Yeah. And I mean, also, I mean, not to like bash on it, Bulldog or Grant, but if they were
good enough that they wanted you to be a part of their broadcasting, they would have asked you. Yeah. Or if you fit, better statement, if you fit the view that they wanted, they would have asked you. For example, TI, Red Eye wasn't there.
Which sucked.
Not because he wasn't good enough, but because he didn't fit the image that they had in mind for TI7.
Which I'm not 100% on board with. I love Red Eye.
I don't know. I'm 50-50 on it. I enjoyed the event, but
I like Machine. He's really good. Like I thought at TI7, like he was the MVP of the entire like broadcast because he did everything and did it well. Like God bless you, Machine.
He's cleaned up a lot fast, so I will give him credit there.
Like he was good at the Boston Major. He was still green a little bit, but yeah, from the Boston Major to TI, man, he rounded out everything perfectly.
Yeah. So
some big WWE news just dropped.
Anyways, back to StarLadder things. Unfortunately, memeing aside, there were some observer issues. So a lot of jokes about that, a lot of issues with the observing. Commentary was very good.
It was good. Shiver was back for it and did like the entire damn thing and was very good. Good for him.
Yeah, Shiver also, just because, some people in case you have your head under a rock and you're not on Twitter, Shiver is done with chemo for now. So we're seeing more of her.
Well, I mean, I follow her on Twitter, so that's why I saw that.
Well, yeah, but I said some people aren't. Like if we get any viewers that for some reason aren't plugged in on Twitter.
You should be plugged in on Twitter, though. It's important for following esports news.
Unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately.
I hate Twitter sometimes. Anyways, back to the point though. Cool, that's happening. We're gonna see more Shiver. We've got PGL coming up like this weekend, like in a few days. It's a minor, so not a whole lot of stuff. There won't be an audience, which I think will be actually kind of cool. It'll be nice, a little bit slower and everything else.
I mean, the summit is always fun and doesn't have an audience, and I hope they
the summit's also very different. So I'm hoping they're not that different.
I hope that they can find a voice. I hope they can find their voice.
Yeah, big thing to note here is that we'll see a couple teams get direct invited, like EG, LGD Gaming, who we haven't seen before. There are also 3 teams that played this past weekend that are going to be playing in this as well, including Mineski, who again took second. I would love to see Mineski do well here, especially because Mineski has pulled out of the Dota Pit minor. They said officially, per their Facebook post,
family reasons from one of their
players having an important family matter to attend to. We will have to pull out of the Dota Pit minor later this year. This decision doesn't come easily at all, but the team has decided to come together to support one of our players at this crucial time. We are very sorry to you, our fans, as well as the Dota Pit admin. We will still be playing in this week's PGL minor, so we hope you support us there. What I'm reading here is one of 2 things. Either 1, family issue reads team drama, something's going on internally, or 2, there's legitimately something wrong, or something that is coming up. Maybe there's a family member who last minute something happened and they need you for something. Or,
yeah, the fact that they can get this but not that is kind of weird.
But the thing is that they're already. It literally starts in 2 days.
Yeah.
PGL. So like it's also possible that that's just the nature of when you could come back. Any number of things.
Worth noting is I don't necessarily think it could. Like my immediate thought when I read that was somebody's having a baby.
That is true.
Which is possible. And would be a good thing.
I'm always down for good news instead of bad news.
Yeah. Other than that, like...
And actually, I think...
it's weird. It's definitely weird.
Yeah. I think Mushi's married?
I have no idea. I have no idea on that.
That's the kind of stuff that I just don't care about, quite frankly. But anyways, yeah, so that's what's going on. We're going to see Mineski at PGL. It should be a good time. Look forward to that this weekend.
Yeah, so.
Yeah, and then ESL Hamburg's coming up pretty quick, so.
Yeah, that's going to be huge because there are 300 Dota Pro Circuit points on the line in minors, mostly. There are a couple exceptions, but in both StarLadder and PGL, you had 300 a pop. ESL One, on the other hand, has 1,500. So minors are apparently 1/5 as important as majors.
Minors are, a lot of people are saying minors at this point are tiebreakers.
Yeah, kind of.
You're gonna use minors to pad your stats, but majors are where all the money's at.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's a 300,000 for most of the minors for prize pool, and then $1 million for most of the majors.
Yeah, so not only is the money there, but also again the points are
pretty big. So it's kind of strange to me that
it's
about 3 times the money, but 5 times the points.
Yeah, I'm not too worried about it. Again, top four. Also, hype. We've got Red Eye desk hosting. Stage host is OJ Borg, who's actually pretty decent, and then analysts are. Yeah, for Hamburg. Then we have Cinderwin, Merlini, and Nahaz for your analysts. Shiver's reporting, and then English commentators are ODPixel, Cap, and Blitz.
Yep, that's a good lineup. It's a good lineup.
With and Pitmunkle and Bucka are bringing their Layerth stuff too, so I'm looking forward to seeing what new stuff they have.
Yeah, so that'll be quite enjoyable. There's a lot to like about that event, and it's also got a really good lineup of teams. It's got VP back. It's got Liquid, like I said before. Going to be interesting to see what we see out of Newbie. Team Secret, we'll have to see how they go. And you got 3 teams with a lot to prove in SG Esports, Happy Feet, and Keen Gaming.
Yeah, Evil Geniuses have a lot to prove too. Like this roster, Arteezy, Sumail, Universe, okay, Crit, all right.
Yeah, they do have a... Yep, Fear is back.
And then and Fear is a position 5 this time, which I just whatever. And then you have SVG as their coach, which is he also has a lot to prove as a coach.
Yeah. So that's going to be a particularly interesting tournament both for the pure on paper stakes of it, and then for all the stuff going on behind the scenes, all the other things between the lines. It's all very good. That's going to be a very fun show to watch. Starts off on the 26th, so make sure you watch it. And again, this weekend is PGL Open Bucharest,
which should be good. So I look forward to that.
Should also be good. I mean,
2 days at 10:40 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Yeah, and should note the list of teams for PGL is EG, LGD Gaming.
Sorry.
What's up?
It starts at 10:40 a.m. Eastern European Standard Summer Time. It starts at 3:40 a.m. Eastern Standard Time.
Nice.
So
and early morning for y'all. Early morning or late night for all of y'all. But anyway, PGL Open, EG, LGD got direct invites. North American qualifier is Immortals. Infamous is your South American qualifier. Secret is your European qualifier. NaVi, your CIS qualifier. Mineski, your Southeast Asian qualifier. And China is VGJ Thunder. Should also note, another little interesting story is the previously mentioned Mineski withdrawal from Dota Pit. I am wondering how they're going to plug that hole. I'm wondering if Valve is going to let them do whatever they feel like, or if they're going to tell them, no. Fnatic was the second place finisher in those qualifiers. Fnatic gets the ticket. Or if they are going to let them say, hey, we really want that NaVi ratings bump. Let's send them a ticket.
Like I said, we'll see what happens, but it's going to take some time.
And that tournament starts off on November 2nd. And that'll also feature the return of OG. in their first actual major tournament, I believe, or did they qualify for ESL One? I don't think they did, right? I think Secret got ESL One.
Yeah.
So it'll be their first big tournament since TI7. So that should be fun. And of course, we're also going to see a lot more Team Liquid. So you get to see if they can really, really cement themselves as the heavyweight team. Because, we saw that last year with Wings. They actually looked quite good out of the gate after TI6 and then fizzled more. So it's a fun month. Fun rest of the month. Anything else to talk about?
Nope.
All right, let's wrap it up then. All good?
Yep.
All right. So I'm Steven. He's MTarget. Follow us on Twitter. It's in the description. Like, comment, subscribe. Talk about what you think should be happening in that Dota pit, replacing Mineski thing in the comments. Who do you think should get it and why? That's me actually giving you a reason to comment. So have a great week. We'll be here maybe next week. We'll see. We'll see what happens. If cool stuff happens, we might be back next week or maybe even sooner if really cool stuff happens. So everybody have a good one, and we'll talk to you later.